Welcome, Trinidad and Tobago, to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister holds bilateral talks with Haiti's President Michel Martelly. Regionally, a clean sweep in Grenada's parliamentary elections. And the Ministry of National Security reiterates its commitments to provide a safe environment for citizens. We begin with word that talks are ongoing between this country and Haiti for both countries to examine mutual investment opportunities. This after Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, held bilateral talks with Haiti's President Michel Martelly.
The bilateral talks centered on private and public sector investment in Haiti and the expansion of Trinidad and Tobago's energy sector to include Haiti. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar says there are some good incentives which should encourage local companies to invest in Haiti. She reveals talks have been extremely positive, with Haiti agreeing to send a trade mission to seek out the possibilities of securing investment.
We just had a very successful bilateral meeting with His Excellency the President of Haiti, and he's very interested in our private sector as well as the public sector in terms of investment here in Haiti to create jobs for Haiti. But the good news is that if any products are manufactured here, they can be exported duty-free into the U.S. So that's a plus for our private sector persons. They're interested in our energy sector and with respect to NP products, gas stations, lubricants and other products that we manufacture in Trinidad. So in those two areas, in the private sector manufacturing, public sector energy, very good discussions on that. And His Excellency has agreed he will send a trade mission to Trinidad and Tobago in the very near future, comprising of his Prime Minister, his Minister of Commerce and his Minister of Foreign Affairs.
The Prime Minister says the size of Haiti's population is something local businesses should be eager to capitalize upon. She explains successful talks will enable local businesses to tap into a market larger than half of CARICOM and more than 10 times our population.
I see great possibilities here for Trinidad and Tobago. The CARICOM has about 18 million people, and 10 million of those people are in Haiti. So it's a huge market. Even if we get 2 million of those, it's more than those in Trinidad.
Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar explains the summit has also brought some clarity to the way forward for the region. She says next on the agenda is the expansion of the CARICOM bloc, with French-speaking islands interested in becoming members. This, she says, benefits all parties involved as it also gives CARICOM a larger voice, something which is essential if CARICOM pushes ahead with its plans to limit the movement of small arms and ammunition through a United Nations treaty.
I always live in hope. It is not just the U.S. We have Russia. There are several countries who are the gun producers, in fact, who are very against, including the kinds of provisions that the CARICOM is very interested in. That is to do with the small arms. But for the U.S., as you would know, their whole culture has been one that has had the freedom to bear arms. However, I am heartened by what the U.S. Attorney General said with President Obama's new thrust to put into place more stringent measures, monitoring measures, investigative measures before guns are actually sold to persons. So that is at least a start.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
A former Prime Minister of Grenada will soon return to power on the Eastern Caribbean island after his party made a clean sweep in the country's parliamentary elections.
History has been repeated in the neighboring Caribbean isle of Grenada as its opposition, the New National Party, has emerged successful in the country's general election, making a clean sweep. The party took all 15 seats in similar style as it did in the 1990 general election. Former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, who heads the NNP, told the Caribbean Media Corporation in the lead-up to the announcement of the official results that figures indicated his party, which was defeated 40-11 in the 2008 general election, would most likely win all seats. In a statement on social media, the incumbent National Democratic Congress says it wishes to congratulate the NNP on their victory. The NDC's loss followed a turbulent 2012 that saw the resignation of a number of cabinet officials from Prime Minister Tillman Thomas's government, most recently Foreign Minister Carl Hood. Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Communication, the Honorable Jamal Mohammed, congratulated the incoming Prime Minister of Grenada on behalf of the government and people of Trinidad and Tobago.
The people of Grenada have exercised their franchise and went out to vote yesterday, and they voted in a new government. We congratulate the new Prime Minister and all of the new representatives on behalf of the people of Grenada. It is a good sign to see that the democratic process is alive and well in Grenada, and we congratulate all those who took the time off to go and vote. And again, we congratulate the new Prime Minister and the new government in Grenada.
Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
After the break, the Ministry of National Security is doing all it can to provide a safe environment. Stay with us. The Ministry of National Security and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is doing all it can to provide a safe environment for citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. As such, the police presence observed during Carnival 2013 is expected to be maintained throughout this year and beyond.
National Security Minister, the Honorable Jack Warner, is quelling worries that the crime situation is worsening in the country. On the heels of the Carnival season, the Honourable Minister assures that a strong police presence will be maintained. Speaking to News 4, he says police visibility throughout the country is of importance, regardless of the size of an event.
Well, the next big event here, I imagine, would be the cricket. But we don't let up whether it's big event or small event. As a Ministry for National Security, we take every day as an important day, every event as an important event. And therefore, we don't allow our guard to go down because the event is finished like Carnival. So in truth and in fact, while the big event is cricket and then Easter and so on, security would still be at a very high level throughout.
Minister Warner responded to critics who assumed that his ministry was not doing enough to resolve the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago. He also insists that crime is a national issue that must receive the input of all affected.
If one is objective, one will realize that the country is gradually becoming safer. We are putting more policemen on the streets. We are having more coastal and aerial surveillance. We are going to establish now 12 coastal stations. We are going to establish 5 Defence Force camps throughout the country. And most importantly, we shall organize a commission, a National Crime Commission, in early March, late March in fact, for the public to come together for us to discuss crime and how we should all approach it as a nation. Therefore, the point I'm making is that crime is everybody's business. And therefore, everybody have a chance to come together to say how we can proceed, and we shall listen to them.
Minister Warner agrees that public confidence in the police service must be attained, and he reveals that March 24th will be an important date in his ministry's quest to gain the trust of the public. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
The government is moving to amend the Constitution to allow ministries and government institutions to make and receive electronic payments in addition to payments via check or cash. This is in an effort to make doing business in this country much easier.
Groundbreaking and transformational. That's how Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Senator the Honourable Vasant Barath, describes the amendment to the Exchequer and Audit Act. Currently, the legislation only recognizes 2 forms of payments, cash and checks. This is why most government agencies accept payments in those forms only. Minister Barath believes the change in the Act to include electronic cash transactions is long awaited and will save time and money.
This Exchequer and Audit Act 2013 provides us with another opportunity to show government's commitment to eliminating all of the delays and the red tape and the bureaucracy involved in doing business in Trinidad and Tobago. And what this specific measure will allow us to do, Madam Vice President, is to ensure that there are no delays in the payment system relating to monies controlled by government under the Exchequer and Audit Act, either between intergovernment departments, government to government, or between government and suppliers of goods and services, or for those who need to fulfill statutory obligations, Madam Vice President, for example, filing your returns online.
The amendment, once implemented, will also benefit public servants with regard to their salaries. Minister Barth explains electronic payments will eliminate the 2-day delay that 85,000 public servants currently experience before money is credited to their bank accounts. The act will eventually be modified so that only electronic transactions are allowed, but he emphasizes that for now, however, persons can continue to pay by check or cash until the system changes over completely. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Confirmation today from government that the aircraft being used by Caribbean Airlines to fly its Port of Spain to London route was leased from the International Lease Finance Corporation. The response came during the sitting of the Upper House.
The Minister of Finance and the Economy, Senator the Honorable Larry Hawaii, makes the confirmation while answering questions in the Senate. While responding to a question posed by Opposition Senator Terence Dial Singh, Minister Hawaii denies the suggestion that the aircraft was leased from another airline.
The B767 aircraft MSN 26327 and MSN 27597 were not leased by Caribbean Airline Limited from Land Chile, but from the International Lease Finance Corporation. Land Chile was the last operator.
The Finance Minister says the aircraft was chosen only after extensive market and aircraft research. He explains that international aviation data and statistics expert company Ascend advised that the Boeing 767 aircraft be leased. Senator Hawaii says the leasing of that particular aircraft holds numerous advantages for Caribbean Airlines.
It is Ascend's view that the 767-300ER with winglets is the best aircraft for the immediate term with which CAL can enter the market on the Port of Spain to the London Gatwick route for several reasons. First, it has the lowest overall trip cost. Second, it has a competitive second or third best seat mile cost. Third, it was identified as the best aircraft to use as a low-risk route opener. Fourth, there is an abundance of spares on the market, keeping maintenance costs down. 5, there are plenty of used aircraft available on the market with more lease expiries to come in the next few years. 6, very attractive lease rates are available on the market. 7, the aircraft can be leased for short terms of 3 years or less, limiting the commitment.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Up next, the Ministry of Sport launches the Trinidad and Tobago Relay Carnival. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Ministry of Sport has launched what is expected to be a marquee event on the local athletics calendar. The Trinidad and Tobago Relay Carnival is expected to lure a wide cross-section of youthful participants as well as aid in the development of local athletes. Here's Wayne Cunningham with more.
The Ministry of Sport continues to initiate programs and events which are geared towards preparing national athletes for international competition. The newest initiative is the Trinidad and Tobago Relay Carnival. Mr. Ashwin Creed, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry, gave us the details of the meet.
This event, which will be hosted annually, is envisaged to become what we call a sportacular event for Trinidad and Tobago. The Trinidad and Tobago Relay Carnival is scheduled for the 9th and 10th of March 2013 and will bring together international and regional senior and high school teams coming from Canada, USA, Suriname, Bahamas, Jamaica, Venezuela, and other Caribbean islands to meet with our local teams. This relay carnival is a prelude to the famous Pen Relays, hosted annually since 1895 by the University of Pennsylvania at Franklin Field, Philadelphia. You may be aware that more athletes have run at the Pen Relays than any other single track and field event in the world. Like the Olympic Games and the World Championships, this meet has always generated a large viewership of spectators. In 2012, there were 116 events at the Games.
Mr. Creed outlined the rationale for supporting such an event.
We took into consideration that the ministry has funded high school teams to participate in the Pen Relays since 2006. We feel it's important to support these aspiring athletes to attend the meet because we have seen and continues to witness the sterling performances of our Jamaicans, who gain their experience at the pen relays. In fact, now dominate the pen relays at the high school level. It is also a prerequisite for schools that will be funded based on times achieved at this meet, because we have been funding this team since 2006. So it's not just a trip anymore. We would be looking at the times that they run at this particular meet and compare it to the times run last year, both at the small school, big school, and Championship of America divisions.
The Ministry of Education will also have its role in the event, according to Mr. Creed.
The talent pool at senior level stems from primary and secondary schools within the education system. There are numerous benefits to be gained from the Trinidad and Tobago Relay Carnival. Sporting events such as these have helped to propel athletes to greatness. Not only will aspiring athletes benefit from the Relay Carnival, but keep in mind, this event can become a flagship event for Trinidad and Tobago.
There will also be programs off the track.
The Trinidad and Tobago Relay Carnival will be heralded by a workshop on March the 8th, which will focus on sharing knowledge on how to plan and manage relay events. This workshop will be conducted by Dr. Cliff Bertrand. Dr. Cliff Bertrand spent most of his time representing the West Indies in international competitions. He helped his regional team to the bronze medal in the men's 4x1 relay at the 1959 Pan Am Games in Chicago, before representing the West Indies only Olympic contingent games in Rome. Bertrand also claimed the haul of 7 medals at the West Indies Championships, including 3 gold, and at the 1950 event in Port of Spain.
But it's all for the young athletes, according to Jim Clark, chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Relay Carnival.
When you look at the talent we see at the schools in their various areas championship, we decide to add something to that. And I think there is where Mr. Creed, the PS, this one is Ashwood, had the vision in putting on this carnival relay. You see, the kids will have something to work up to, and not only go to school and maybe, take a part in a little track meet. You heard him said it will form part of the criteria for teams to be funded to go to the pen relays. And this is what we are giving the athletes, something to work up to.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
After the break, we go inside the latest CSO census report. Stay with us. Welcome back. The latest CSO demographic census report will add to the realization of the government's 7 development pillars, which constitutes the cornerstones of its strategy for sustainable development of Trinidad and Tobago.
The Trinidad and Tobago 2011 Population and Housing Demographic Census Report is expected to significantly enhance the planning ability of the government and ensure that various groups and sectors of society are accounted for and taken into consideration. The census report is said to have been delivered in record time, as such reports are usually launched 3 to 4 years following the end of the data collection process. The Central Statistical Office of Trinidad and Tobago conducted that process during January 9th to May 31st, 2011, which is in keeping with its tradition of conducting censuses every 10 years since 1851. The latest findings show that the total population of Trinidad and Tobago stood at 1,328,019 persons on January 9, 2011, which is an increase of 5.7% from the year 2000. The borough of Chaguanas in Trinidad and the parish of St. George in Tobago experienced the highest growth, while declines were observed in the cities of Port of Spain and San Fernando and the Diego Martin region. Meanwhile, the age composition showed that the population in age groups classified as the dependent group, which is all persons 14 years and below and 65 years plus, decreased from 32.4% of the population in 2000 to 29.6% in 2011. However, the working age population, classified as persons 15 to 64 years, increased from 67.6% in 2000 to 70.4% in 2011. The two age ranges that were becoming dominant were 20 to 34 years and 45 to 55 years, which is an indication of an aging population. The number of males, which was recorded at 666,305, outnumbered that of the females, which stood at 661,714. Regarding ethnicity, East Indians and Africans were again the two largest ethnic groups in Trinidad and Tobago, as East Indians accounted for 35.4% of the total population, while Africans accounted for 34.2%. The next largest group was described as mixed, representing 22.8% of the population, and broken down into 7.7% representing African East Indian and 15.1% representing mixed other. All other ethnic groups totaled 1.4%, although there was a relatively large not stated category consisting of 6.2%. Roman Catholicism was again the largest religious denomination, with 285,671 followers, having declined from a membership of 289,711 in 2000. Following this was Hinduism, with 240,100 followers, and Pentecostal Evangelical Full Gospel with 159,033. 115,000 persons fell into the other category, almost 29,000 subscribed to no religion, and close to 147,000 persons did not state their religious beliefs. In terms of education, 29.8% of the population had attained up to primary level education, while 43.5% had attained secondary and post-secondary, with 6.2% attaining tertiary non-university level education and 8.4% tertiary university level education. 38.7% of the population 15 years or older had no qualifications. 4.3% reported school leaving as the highest qualification attained, and 2.1% claimed to have attained CXC Basic as their highest educational qualification. While 25.1% achieved GCE O-Level, CXC General or A-Levels as their highest educational qualification, 9.3% were granted diplomas, 5% achieved either a bachelor's or a master's degree, and 0.2% matriculated to the doctoral level. For other statistics and information on the Trinidad and Tobago 2011 Population and Housing Demographic Census Report, members of the public can purchase a hard copy at the Publications Department of the Central Statistical Office in Port of Spain. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
And that story brings us to the end of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.